all 13 wild boars are out. They have been all accounted for, all 12, including their football coach. They are all out and they are all coming home. Now that is something that we have all been waiting for. There have been scenes of applause just moments ago when there finally word got around that everybody got out of the cave. There have been scenes of applause near the cave's rescue site as well, according to witnesses. So this is a very, very, very good news indeed.
It is indeed a very successful, extraction there of removing the boys from the cave complex. But as we know, they will remain near the field hospital before they're brought to Chiang Rai Hospital. Do we know if all of them are now on their way or they're still at the cave site hospital?
Not quite. So just to recap, number 9, the first one that came out of the cave today, that person has arrived in Chiang Rai Hospital as well. Number 10 and 11, if I'm not mistaken, are also on their way to Chiang Rai Hospital. If not, they might have already arrived. I'm not 100% sure about that. Number 12 and number 13, the last one, those were the last to come out, and we can pretty much very safely assume that they are still at the field hospital. They will be examined, and then they will make a decision whether or not to transport them via helicopter or via ambulance to Chiang Rai Hospital.
Yes, Saksith, we've seen as well, we just showed it on our screen, a message from the Thai Naval Facebook page saying that 12 boars and coaches leave the cave and then everyone is safe. With the trademark Huya at the end. There must be a huge sense of relief where you are, not just for the staff, but also the press that have been covering it. We know that it is a significant operation there where you are. There's sort of been working night and day since the discovery.
I mean, we are all just relieved, everybody among us, everybody who has been following this story from the first day, and those who have joined when those boys were found just 1 week ago. Everybody was hoping for a happy end, and we finally got our happy end.
That's right, Saksith. So we know that the 19 divers were involved in extracting the boys, and we know that there are 4 more inside, and that is the doctor plus the 3 Navy SEALs. Do we know if they are also out of the cave complex?
That is a very important question, Glenda. We have no information yet about the 3 Navy SEALs and the 1 medic that have been accompanying those kids. They have been staying with those kids ever since they were found a week ago. They have been keeping them company. They have been looking and treating after their wounds. And
yes,
those were the ones
we'll come back to you just shortly. We're just seeing pictures of the ambulances that are taking the boys that have been taken out of the cave today on their way to the Chiang Rai Hospital.
We're assuming that these are boy 10th and 11th, because we know that the 9th boy is already at the hospital, so we're assuming an educated guess that this will be the 10th and the 11th boy that is being brought to Chiang Rai Hospital.
Now, it does take an hour or so to drive from the caves to the hospital as one option of getting the boys there. Another option is by helicopter, which will obviously take much less time. But still, even if they are using the helicopters to transport the boys, they will still need to go from the helicopter to an ambulance to take them the final stretch to the hospital as well. We can get back to Saksith now. Apologies for that, Saksith. It's a very exciting moment seeing that, all the boys are out and safe and sound. You must be feeling it as well.
Yeah, we are all excited. We are all happy about that. I mean, people mostly criticize the media when they always report about bad news, and when we report about good news, it is about extraordinary. It must be extraordinary good news, and this is exactly extraordinary good news that we are reporting today. That all 13 wild boars are out there, and of course now everybody is busy going live on air, writing their articles, drafting their tweets to spread the good message around the world.
That's right, Saksith. And now that, we know that all 13 are out, well, the authorities must obviously, give us more information. Are they providing you with any more information other than, just from what you're seeing and from your sources as well?
Not yet, not yet. We will very likely hear an official statement later tonight here near the press center by the rescue commander and by the rescue operation, by the staff of the rescue operation. That has been the pattern that we have always the past 2 nights, that it will always be a press conference in the morning announcing the commencement of the rescue operation, and then in the evening the conclusion of the rescue operation for the day. It will be very likely it is a question of when we will hear the rescue commander coming over here on the place behind me and announcing the complete conclusion of the whole operation.
Now, Saksith, you told us earlier in the evening that none of the identities of the boys has been released as, you know, in the order in which they came out in, and that was to safeguard sort of the family's anticipation of who was coming out. And also that you mentioned also that the families and the children themselves have been sort of kept away from the press and the media. I'm sure, as are we all, hoping, want them to sort of recover fully, but also now that they are all out, do you think we can expect to hear from them and see pictures of them, do you think?
Probably not, unless they post something on social media and don't set their privacy settings correctly. But they are. It is very restrained, the access that we have to the families and to the boys themselves, and probably also for a very good reason. The last thing they probably need is a media scrum around them asking all kinds of questions, how it's been going on there. Now the kids that are in the hospital right now, the 8 kids that are already there at the hospital, including number 9, they are being kept in quarantine for a short period of time until they can finally embrace their parents. So yeah, and that's something that we haven't even, that many people are not even considering. These kids, especially those that have arrived the first, they need to be kept away from their parents, physically away from their parents, because of fears of contamination or any kind of infection. It is just after a certain period of time, about a little bit more than 24 hours, then that quarantine drops and they can finally embrace each other after such a long time apart from each other. So it's been quite an ordeal for both sides, I'm sure.
Yes, many thanks for that, Saksith Sombat there with some wonderful news that all 13 of the Wild Boar Party, 12 boys and the coach, have been safely evacuated from the cave.